Faith family, welcome to Behind the Faith on behalf of Dr. Andre and Pastor Jenny. It is a great privilege and an honor to have us in your home because we are one big happy family, excited for what God is doing in and around the world. Well, Thando, I'm excited because great things are happening right here at the Faith Family of Networks.
It's almost as though sometimes you can't keep up, but you can. I know you at home have been keeping up, and I know a lot of you have been so blessed by what's happening in and around the Faith Family of Networks. And we just want to actually, just for a moment, I know Drs. Andre and Jenny would want us to do this. It's their heart. We just want to thank every single one of you.
Yeah.
For everything you do, whether it is sharing a post, whether it is, recommending the channel to a friend so they can grow spiritually, or it's just your financial giving. It's not just a financial giving. It's what equips us to be able to do what we're doing, or through your prayers. We sincerely appreciate every single one of you. And thank you for always tuning in. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the prayers. Thank you for allowing and really helping the Faith Family of Networks do what it's doing at the moment. And I know together, all of us partnered up with what God is doing in this place. We are reaching places that we never thought we would reach as a network, and it's really all glory to God. And thank you so much for your partnership. So I'm excited for today. Yeah,
we just want to thank each and every single one of you because some of you always send us letters and notes as well. And I've got one here from Omotayo Ojo from Kaduna, Nigeria, and simply says, I watch your program every Sunday, so let's talk about faith worship, and it has really changed my life in terms of my giving. Yeah. So that's exciting, and that's what, and I know, Thando, you've got one or two there as well, so let's just go through some of them because they're very encouraging.
I'll read mine. It's all the way from Kenya. Okay, so that's really exciting, and it's Rosemary. Rosemary says, I've been listening to the station since last year, and it has really helped me. I had lost hope in many things, but I'm doing well now, and I mean, I have grown so much in faith. So thank you, Rosemary. And there's another one, which is from home ground here in Johannesburg. Jennifer, it's from Jennifer, and she says, my TV is permanently set on FBN. I have my favorite programs, which I always record and I watch, and I'm so thankful to FBN. And then she says, she states a couple of her programs, but one of her absolute faves is The Believer's Voice of Victory with Brother Kenneth and Sister Gloria Copeland, and of course, Andrew Womack. Listen, Grace, you need that. You need a lot of, every single program here is specially selected for you. But she continues to say, I love Pastor Andre and Jenny, and I enjoy, every single thing that happens in the Faith Family of Networks. So thank you. And listen, there's a whole team that does this. Yeah. There's an entire team that does this, from people who are behind the camera to people who are actually sitting in the offices right now, really pushing so that we do what we're able to do. And we really just want to say thank you to our faith team as well. And it's your faith team. And thank you for thanking the faith team. Yeah. We love you.
And there's a bunch of you guys, and I just want to honor you out there, especially these ones we've just read out as well. Yeah. You know, it's always an honor and a privilege to connect with each and every single one of you because it's what we do, and it encourages each and every single one of us as we connect with you through this medium. So you can continue to send us, if you're wondering how you can send us those praise reports, those testimonies, you can email partner@myfaithtv.com. I'll repeat that, partner@myfaithtv.com if you are in Africa. If you're in the United States of America, that changes slightly, and it's partner@myfaithusa.com. Partner@myfaithusa.com. And of course, in the United Kingdom and in Europe, that is partner@myfaithuk.com. Partner@myfaithuk.com. So those are the email addresses that you can contact and connect with us on, and that's what's exciting. Thando, we're sitting here right now, and it is as we're talking now, we're actually speaking, and we are at this place where we are the precipice, or at that point of Harvest Durban 2018, and it's going to be happening at the Kingsby Stadium in Durban. Well, the Kingsby Stadium in Durban, the Durban Stadium won't be in Cape Town or Johannesburg. It's going to be in Durban, and I'm excited for it because it's going to be an incredible time. And I know we're going to talk about that a bit later. We'll get into it. But I think we want to spend some time now talking about traveling the world. Yes. You know, going on a tour, seeing the beautiful things that God has to offer. And we're talking none other than, of course, Israel tours. And so if you're wondering about Israel Tours, wondering how to connect, you better tune in. You better get your friends and family, let them know. We are live. This is live on Facebook, so they can continue to watch it on Facebook, or they can watch the repeat program, or go on our YouTube page. Man, there's just so many ways to get a hold of this thing.
Yeah.
And they can connect with everything that's going on. But we're going to be talking about Israel Tours, and we're going to be back right after this. So check this out. It's just a promo to show you more about Israel Tours and about the tour into Israel. So it's exciting. So we'll be right back after this.
Join Faith Tours and discover the true beauty of the Holy Land of Israel. Don't miss out. Book today as space is limited.
That's Israel Tours, and now we'd like to introduce you to part of the team from Israel Tours, leading the charge head on. Pastor Bert, welcome to Behind the Faith. When I say leading the charge head on, I can see you with a sword in your hand riding a camel.
I actually, thank you for having me on the program. I actually have a qualified professional camel driving license.
Oh, that's so good.
Wait, so you need a license to ride a camel?
You do. Like everything else that needs to be driven needs licenses.
Wow.
So I have a camel driving license. In between us and the family is not listening so much, you actually get given the license once you've been once on a camel. Okay. So it's not that you have to pass a test.
So anyone who goes on tour with you and gets on a camel and rides a camel and they show them and they get it, they'll probably get a license.
They get a little, looks like an ordinary little license, and written in Hebrew at the back, your signature, that you are now qualified a camel driver and you can do it.
So if for no other reason, I can go to Israel just to get my camel license.
It would be expensive just to go for that, but the rest is then for free. It's mahala, pasela.
Pastor Bert, talking about the rest,
Yes.
which would then be pasela, what can a person expect? That if someone's looking and they're watching the program at home and they're asking, okay, you know what, I'm interested in touring Israel, or going on an Israel tour. What can I expect when I come on the trip?
Everything that you've never thought would be possible for yourself to be taken into. I'm talking not a cap and a t-shirt and climbing a mountain and looking at the desert, but having a spiritual experience. Many people dream about going to Israel, and many people pray for Israel, because that is what God's word are actually encouraging us to do. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Believe me, I need it when I'm there. When I am traveling with 40 people in our tour, and some of them want to go left and some of them want to... I need the peace of God in Jerusalem to make sure that I never lose any of these, like Jesus said. All those that you've given me, Lord, I have lost none except Judas, but we don't have Judases on our trip. So it is a very moving spiritual experience. Yes, there's fun. We float in the Dead Sea and we do funny things. We ride on camels. We visit between centuries ago. Actually, one place is 4,000 years ago, where Abraham walked through a specific place in a city. We're going to stand where Abraham was.
Wow.
You're going to stand where the prophet Elijah dealt with the Baal prophets.
Sure.
Then you shift to the New Testament. After a while, people do not know whether they're Arthur or Martha, but eventually, spiritually, it comes together. Old Testament, New Testament. The Jewish believers say there is no such thing as an Old Testament. It is one book from Genesis to Revelation.
Sure.
And it all fits together. There's no gap, because Jesus is the Jewish Messiah. And where he left from, Mount of Olives, is where he's going to return to.
Sure.
Now, between us, I, with my wife and the tour group, would really love to be standing on that mountain when he comes back. Because then I will not have to fly back to South Africa. That is a shortcut and a hotline.
So you want to be first in the queue, because
as
soon as he rocks up, you want to be gone.
I'll meet you guys later, when you come up a bit delayed live.
Delayed. Well, Pastor Bert, So let's talk dates quickly. Okay, so we've got a tour coming up now in November.
1st to the 9th.
1st to the 9th. And do you still have space if someone wants to come through?
We have space. We have an exciting development in Africa. I'm not talking South Africa only. I'm including some Botswana, some Swaziland, some Zambia. There's a couple from Zambia now bought into it, or have been paying already. But there has been voices from Lagos and from Accra, from Ghana and from Nigeria, wanting to be part of this. They've seen the program on TV, and I don't know whether there are no tours from those nations, but they want to buy. Some are actually saying, do we have to fly up to Johannesburg to be part of the tour? So no, if we incorporate you, you do your flight costs up to getting to Israel, you join the tour, we take care of all the rest, the hotels, the bookings, the meals. And for them, of course, it's a much lower price because their flights are different. So there's an exciting group wanting to join us from Nigeria, about 10 or so people. Like you're saying, is there space? Yes, there is, but first come, first serve.
Okay, so Pastor Bert, you mentioned price there for a second. Let's talk price. So let's talk this year. We'll get to 2019. Let's talk price, costing. How does it work? How much is it going to cost me as an individual to go with you on this tour? Now, let's assume I'm coming from South Africa, so it's the all-inclusive price. I have to fly myself to Joburg, if I'm not mistaken.
It's from Joburg.
Okay, so everything is from Joburg to Israel and back to Joburg.
Everything on that price is included, except your. We've even included 3 luncheons, which there were never luncheons included. So you basically have 2 luncheons for yourself. If you still, you know, have that feeling that it's not quite sufficient, then you buy yourself a little something for a few dollars, and you can your breakfast and your suppers is buffet. You can go from that side to that side and back, and make sure you're well stocked for the day, so to speak. And basically that is included in everything: the bus, the Wi-Fi, the hotels, the entrance fees, the transportation, even your little whisper. You know, we don't have to shout anymore. We've gone modern with that. So we just talk and people hear wherever they walk behind you in a radius of 100 meters or so.
Sure. Well, so how much is that totally inclusive?
The tour for this November tour, we could not do other than that. It is $2,600
per person,
which is per person from Joburg.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, 2 weeks ago it was just over 30,000. At the moment it is 34.
And rands, of course.
The rands, because the rand dollar, you know, who can keep up? So next week probably it goes down again. It all starts with a deposit. People need to do a non-refundable deposit, which then of course is taken off the total amount once they've paid the deposit. And then from there on, like by September, the full amount needs to be in, because then the airlines and our tour agent will want to make sure that the hotels are getting their payments, and et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. So, Pastor Bert, we're talking here for a second. You're talking about people from Nigeria, from Kenya, from all these places. Now, let's say I've got a friend of mine now who's watching, and they're watching from the United Kingdom, or they're watching from the United States of America. Can they come and be a part of the tour?
We've had couples from Canada that flew in. I have a couple booked from New Zealand for the 2019 tour.
Wow.
They already are paying. And they say, how can we do it? Must we fly to South Africa? No. You get your flight from Auckland to Tel Aviv. You meet us more or less at the same time. You join the tour, say, hello, I'm so-and-so. And then it becomes a family together, longing for the presence of God. Sure. So anywhere in the world, basically. We've had Americans too. Believe it or not, Americans book with us on Faith Tours South Africa, going to Israel.
Sure. Oh, that's beautiful. Pastor Bert, just a few more questions. This is not an interrogation. This, you know, this is not some dark place. But we want to know, it's like questions. It's exciting. Do you guys visit places like the Jordan?
We visit. Are you talking Mr. Jordan or the Jordan River?
The river itself.
No, we do. We have a baptismal service at the Jordan.
So people can get baptized in the Jordan as well?
They can get baptized. Some, because of the sheer experience of I am standing at the Jordan River. Although they have been baptized maybe many years ago, we do reconfirm or recommit their lives, you know, to the Lord in the Jordan. And it's a bit of a different certificate, but we do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, Pastor Bert, you'd mentioned, before the camera started rolling, you did mention that there are a couple of new sites with the upcoming tours. I'm sorry for everyone who's been, but this one is going to be exciting. Tell us a little bit about those.
They have to almost start visiting again and thinking, well, I've seen Israel. What more is there? We've been there since 2011, twice a year, and we haven't seen half of it. They're constantly opening new sites. For example, we've been twice now to a place called Shiloh, where the tabernacle used to stand before it actually was built into a temple in Jerusalem. That's where Hannah received a miracle out of sheer desperation, not having an offspring, not having a future, because that was her future. And because of desperation and tears, not anything else but that, she was, excuse me, she was granted by the high priest Eli to bring forth a son that following year, which, as you know, is the prophet Samuel. And when you experience the actual site, there's no building. Thank God some places do not have churches on top of very serious and real sites. This is a bare piece of ground. You can see the 50 by 100 cubits, I think they call it, where the tabernacle stood. It is the original site where it stood before it eventually was moved to where the outer court stood.
Sure.
You have that, especially those that come with a desperation. My wife is one of them. I cannot keep her tears stopping once she comes into that space of, unless you're desperate to meet God, you won't meet Him. He will not knock you over and say, here I am, hey, praise the Lord. He will wait on your heart to connect. Shiloh is one of those places, and I can't wait to get back. The other new one, which we haven't been to yet, I've preached about it. You know about Jacob, the Jacob of old, the one that eventually needed to change his name or his nature.
Yeah.
But he started off with a dream, and it's called Jacob's dream site,
Sure.
where he laid his head on that stone, dreamt about the angels ascending and descending and having his future virtually, you know, mapped out for him at that place. Waking up and saying, yo, this is nothing else but the house of God. It's close to Bethel, or Bethel is the house of God. That's another one of the new ones. People that have been some years ago have never been to Genesis land. We have a meal with Abraham. That's where the camels, you know, come to be, taking us from the bus to his tent. Okay. It's only like 500 meters, but I mean, it's symbolically going into the desert, looking out over the hills of Judea, and being welcomed by Eliezer, of course, Abraham's servant. Then we all call out, and Abraham comes out of his tent, the man with the white beard. He's got a bit of an Australian accent. But you live the whole thing. You are queens and kings invited into his tents in his humble abode. Sarah cooks up the meal. I've never seen Sarah, but I mean, she's always busy in the kitchen. And you sit down on low tables, and you have a meal. Your hands get washed. You have a meal. You have dessert, and he talks about his idols, his father Terah, the idols that he made. He said, you guys have idols too. One of these square things in your house that you look at and it talks to you. Talking about TVs.
Yes.
I thought just
I didn't want to confirm or mention it, you know, since, you know, we're in the TV business.
We have that meal there with Abraham, and another one is Nazareth village, where people are dressed up like Mary and Joseph, and how they lived and what they did and how they worshipped in the synagogue and how they manufactured tables and spinning wool for clothing and so on. So it is constantly something else that I don't know. I wish I had the opportunity of a month's experience trying to put it into 9 days, but what do you leave out what is important and fit in what is also important?
Yeah, that's exciting. And just to clarify to everyone, it's not some weird thing where, you know, somehow Abraham moved from where he is and he's there. It's a reenactment of everything. So it comes alive. There's no time travel. It just comes alive in that way. But Pastor Bert, I mean, I can't believe how time flies. But I really, really want to know, out of all the times you've been, which is your favorite site and why?
Difficult to pick out one or two. The place where...
I promise you the other sites will not be jealous. We won't tell them that you picked that.
The one very important site for me is where Jesus was kept after being arrested in Gethsemane, which means olive press. He was really squeezed, about to be squeezed more. He was kept in a place, in a cell, they call it a pit. And Psalm 88 talks about they lowered me into a pit. He spent the night there for us by himself. No light, no company, no one. To prepare for the crucifixion, which was still coming. And in that place, miracle healings are taking place. When people grasp the presence of him, he got no time. You know, he was there. His presence is still there. When you call upon him, he will answer. The other one on the boat, on the Sea of Galilee, sometimes in the midst of a bit of a storm, but it is so anointed. We have a boat captain that is a Messianic Jew. He sings and worships. And he leads you into a place that the storm, whether it sweeps outside or not, it is an open boat, so you get a bit wet, but you know, we can walk on water, can't we? Peter could. Those type of things they grab you. The moment you move closer to, I know what's coming. My tears are rolling before the others know why I'm crying. And I'm not sad, and I'm not sick, and I'm not broke, but I'm entering into that space again and again, twice a year. My guide the other day, when I was there, we stood there and he said, Pastor Bert, why are you crying? And I looked at him and I said, you are living here. You are experiencing this all the time, every tour. I only have the opportunity twice a year to get this reality. He's still here. He's still the God of miracles. He's still the God of passion. That's why we pray for Jerusalem and for the nation, which so much needs it. If you have nothing else to do, look at the Psalms and say, God is instructing me, expecting from me to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And make a way. If you even can't go yourself, by prayer you're enabling others to be able to go, to open doors for not just miracles and a good, nice tour and having a memory of it afterwards, but to have stood where he stood, to walk where he walked. And it's not a gush flash thing, it's just real.
Well, Pastor Bert, you know, we've clean flush out of time, but just quickly, last thing, we've got dates for 2019. You've got dates for 2019 already as well, the 9th till the 17th of May, and the 19th until the 27th of September in 2019.
That's correct.
So people can still book for those, can start booking for those already.
They can. Some people already do. Why we chose a bit earlier on the September one, because it includes some of the school holidays.
Yes.
And people with teenagers have asked repeatedly, I can't take my child out of school. What do I do? Can you not do it over the school holidays? Then you clash with Jewish highlight feasts that you cannot move. So this one we've managed to do, I think it is half of the school holidays is actually in the September tour, which would help teenagers to come with their parents.
Sure. Okay, now that's great. Well, thank you, Pastor Bert. Thank you for connecting with us. So that's Pastor Bert right there, who's been leading the team for the Faith Tours team. So if you're interested, the details are all on the screen as to how you can make contact with the Faith Tours team to be a part of what's happening. Briefly, Thando, even as the program is coming to an end right now, this is Harvest Durban Week. So Harvest Durban is going to be something that's going to be exciting. It's going to be happening. They're going to be at the Kingsmead Stadium. We'll be bringing that to you live on Wednesday, the 8th of August, and that is the day before Women's Day. and that will be running through from 7 o'clock. We'll be live on Facebook as well, so you can connect with us on social media on Facebook. So connect with us for more information on Instagram, Facebook, or on Twitter. All those details across the world will be on screen. Unfortunately, this will only be live on our Africa platforms and not in the United Kingdom or in the United States of America. But if you're still wondering and want to know more about Harvest, you can check this out, and we'll be right back after this.
Are you ready